has been. So this is, do you all remember the Reanne Coulson case? Do you remember when we were, so let's have a look. No. Okay. As I go through this, you're going to get quite a lot of the background from the case anyway, because quite a lot's come out in the court, so you will be able to remember it. I remember we were going live at the time and kind of talking about it because she was missing, and then all of a sudden there was some stuff that happened. So it says here, the screams of a woman whose body was found dumped in a shallow woodland grave were heard by her accused killer's neighbour, who dialed 999. Police attended and searched the property of Mohammed Dernion on Paynes Lane in Coventry on May the 21st, but failed to find the body of Reanne Coulson, who was believed to have been hidden under a mattress at that time. The 33-year-old's body was found 5 weeks later on the outskirts of the city of Coventry. Dernion, 42, denies murder. Thank you, Danielle. While Adam Moore, 39, of Mulcroft, Willinghall, Coventry, denies assisting an offender in helping dispose of the body. Prosecutor Tim Cray, KC, told Warwick Crown Court the victim had last been seen shortly before 10 o'clock on May the 21st after attending a support group at a local church. I don't know what the support group was from. I know that Reanne had suffered with some addictions and she at that current time was working in the sex trade. However, we just don't judge her for that in here. Obviously, she still was a human being. She was everything to so many people. So to us, this is still just a really important, relevant case. She appeared well and was chatting to staff and was present. So it was in May of last year that she went missing and she was found 5 weeks later. So after an hour or so, the prosecutor said a man living about 350 yards away from the church heard a woman screaming in fear. And that's just heartbreaking, isn't it? And the sound was coming from Mohammed Dernion's flat. After neighbours called the police, the court heard officers search his address but did not see her or her body. Thank you, Danielle. And that's because she was hidden underneath the mattress. Now, to me, that's pretty shitty searching because a body's not going to be flat underneath a mattress. And I've seen 3 or 4 cases this year where bodies have been hidden either within the mattress if they've had more time or under the mattress. Thank you, Danielle, so much. But if you're hiding a body underneath the mattress, it's going to be like this. So why have you not even lifted up? I don't understand. Especially when they've heard a woman screaming in fear from that location. After neighbours called the police, the court heard officers searching his dress but could not see Coulson. Telling jurors there was an element of horror to the evidence, Cray alleged Dernion had hidden the victim's body under a mattress from officers who arrived within 12 minutes of the screaming. There must have been some time delay as well from the time of them knocking on the door till him answering the door, surely, because you've had time to put her under the mattress. I'm assuming he didn't originally put her under the mattress. It was to hide her from the police. The prosecutor claimed Dernion then put her body in a suitcase before driving to the woodland, when later that day, with the help of Moore, he buried her body in a shallow grave. So fucking sad. Cray said Dernion agrees that he was the last person to see Reanne alive and also agrees that he buried her body in the woods. He picked her up believing she was a sex worker, but says there was no sexual contact between them that night. I wonder if that's why she was screaming, trying to get him off her. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Danielle. Jurors were told Dernion claimed Coulson became sick and appeared to overdose in his bedroom. Obviously, he's going to put it onto her, right? Why would she overdose and be screaming in fear, Mohammed? Why would she be screaming in fear? It makes no sense. Fearing he'd be held responsible for her death, he said he put her into a suitcase, drove her to Binley Woods and then buried her. And we know that's not true because, let's face it, if someone overdosed on your property and within 12 minutes you had the police knocking on your door, you would open the door and be like, I think she's just taken an overdose here. You wouldn't even have time to compute that, right? If you didn't murder her, you wouldn't be expecting her to die. So you would not even be in the stage of forward thinking or planning. At that point, you would have just said, I think, thank you, Gino, that this is, I think that she's overdosed. Fearing he'd be house, we say the biggest timing and circumstances suggest this was a deliberate attack by a powerfully built man on a vulnerable and defenceless woman he had taken back to his address. I don't even doubt that something may be in her system. That's why she was at a support group earlier that day, but there's not going to be enough for an overdose. And her body was in the woods for 5 weeks, so in a shallow grave, so I don't even know what the autopsy can still tell or can't tell. The evidence is the attack began within a minute of her going into the flat at 11:22. Is that long enough to take drugs, get high, start arguing and overdose and screaming? So it's not, is it? It's a minute. that tells you that this attack is going to be one of some things, because it's only within a minute. Either she owed him money and he wanted to get back to that flat to kill her because he was so ready, or he thought he was going to have sex with her and she was like, no. And then that's when it happened. So it's last year because we haven't had May yet. Or there's for some other reason, but they're all nefarious reasons, right? None of them are positive. I'm good too, thank you, Lulu. The jury also held on Coulson, who was a sex worker and drug user, had been attending a support group for women vulnerable to sexual exploitation at St Mary's and Benedict Church in Raglan Street in Hillfield. So that's why she was going for a support woman for women vulnerable to being sexually exploited. Later, the court heard a recording of the 999 call in which screams could be heard. So heartbreaking. And the jury also saw police body cam footage of the search of Dernian's flat, in which officers failed to find her body. Coulson's partially closed body was found on the 27th of June after Dernian came distressed and took officers to land near the former Coventry Speedway Stadium in Binley Woods. He made a comment about taking a stupid amount of cocaine and said he had used a shovel to dig the hole. There was a strong smell of petrol and there was visible burn and soot injuries to the sides of Reanne's body and face, so he tried to burn her as well. The subsequent post-mortem found marks of injury to Reanne's head and neck. In the opinion of the pathologist who conducted the post-mortem, the head and neck injuries, bruising and the like had been caused while Reanne was still alive. In contrast, the burn injuries to Reanne's face and side had been caused after death, as if someone had tried to destroy those parts of her body or maybe take away her identity. Thank you. This is really, really sad. Just so sad. I just wonder how they hadn't found her underneath the mattress. And my second question would be, was she dead when she was under the mattress? Or was she unconscious because she had some injury? Did she die straight away? You have to start asking the question of whether police missed it and she could have been saved. That was my first thought, was like, was she really dead? Because was there a chance to kind of help her at that point? And the second is the motive. Like, obviously this wasn't just an overdose. I don't think anyone in this room believes that it was just an overdose. Because why was she screaming in fear? It makes no sense. Thank you, Hayley. It makes no sense at all. I don't know what's happening. He's gone to trial really quickly because it was only so long ago he was arrested. I'm hoping this will now, he's denying murder and it will go forward to a full trial. What does this say? Let me go back and see if there's any more news. Oh, so jury was sworn in 4 days ago. 3 days ago was when the screams could be heard. So we'll keep up to date with this and follow this trial as it goes through, because I want Reanne to have justice. So 2 men have just gone on trial, one for the death and one for murder. Good, thank you, Sharon.